Well, I've gone back and forth on whether I want to do this video or not, but here we are. I never really want to, let's say, connect myself to the dark forces and their creations, their films, but sometimes spirit calls us to reverse engineer the third dimensional matrix and go into these cultural conditionings of the human mind and find out more about our own soul path. So that's what I did. When I was presented with this film called Lucy, I automatically had my remote control ready because I was going to fast forward the violent scenes. If you know anything about me, I am like a cartoon anime guru. I love like good things to watch. So violence and, stuff like what's going on in Lucy, some of this is too heavy for me, but at the same time, there are some gems. There's always light in the darkness. So I found it, and that's what I wanted to share with you today. So there's 3 points that I wanted to show you. 3 things that actually opened up my eyes. This film showed me a lot about my own soul growth, my own path. So this character has gone through a very tumultuous experience, and in a lot of ways my life mirrored this woman's path in some, some interesting ways. Now, she's introduced some toxins into her body that, give her a chemical reaction, and she basically has, I would say, an awakening, and her brain starts to function differently. Now, anyone who's gone through mental illness and had to go through the very tumultuous experiences of having to be on prescription drugs and seeing how they interact with our brain chemistry, that can be a really intense aspect of life, and that's actually something I went through. Now, I'm not afraid to talk about it because, it's actually one of my biggest videos. I talk about it, and you can see my progression, how much I've, basically have suffered less throughout the years. Now, I love in Lucy how she basically goes through something that is irreversible. She at one point calls her mom and is basically like, "Mom, I can't even talk. There is no resonance." She left the third dimensional matrices, basically. And I remember having a very similar conversation. And it was very difficult at that point to know that you no longer resonate with the lower aspect of yourself, the old paradigm, the people you used to know, i.e. your family, your friends. And in that movie, it was very heavy, and I very much resonated with that. I just felt like connected in some way, like, wow, somebody like knows how it feels. The second thing that I liked about this film, basically Ascension, her progression. She illustrates to us infinite probability. And the scientists around her are like, whoa, what is going on? And that's what I like sometimes about these dark films, because they'll point to a truth. That's what I was speaking about earlier. The light's always in the dark. The dark forces, they have no choice but to point us to the truth, even though they try to put a maze and smoke and mirrors around it. But you see, everything eventually goes back to source. So they're showing the human brain and its potentiality and how it's infinite. And they're basically saying, you're God. And that's what that movie whispers to us. And the third thing that I love so much about it is how they basically present this woman as she's going through her divine ascension back to source, back to light. She is in a little black cocktail dress. Hilarious, right? In my opinion, for me, it was an example of the divine feminine. Not the woman herself, but the actual essence. It was like Spirit was showing us that we can be dressed in whatever we want. Whatever you want to wear, go for it, because guess what? you're gonna ascend. So you might as well not try so hard and put on a facade. She's basically showing us you're gonna be the one in the seat. You can wear whatever you want because, like I said, you are the one. So the movie Lucy had a lot of expansion for this time in, you know, our species, our level of consciousness. I loved how it just pushed the limits. Like we're allowed to have telekinesis, psychic abilities. She was able to do extreme things. The other things that I really loved about her was her discipline. After she found her gifts and her abilities and she knew her mission, nothing could stop that character. And she even found love along the way, and she stayed focused on her mission. She completed it. So that's what I love about Lucy. It's one of my favorites, but like I said, it's not, you know, I'd rather be watching some heart-based like Care Bear cartoon. But this is always good to, you know, look into the human conditioning every now and then so that you can kind of deconstruct and kind of further your own spiritual path in a really kind of interesting way. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I love you so much. Until my next video, you take care. Peace.